Štokavian, Štokavian or Štokavian, Serbo-Croatian Latin, štokavski/Serbo-Croatian Cyrillic, štokavski, pronounced štokavski, is the prestige dialect of the pluricentric Serbo-Croatian language on the basis of its Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, and Montenegrin standards. It is a part of the South Slavic dialect continuum. Its name comes from the form for the interrogatory pronoun for what in Western Shtokavian, it is sta in Eastern Shtokavian. This is in contrast to Kajkavian and Chakavian kaj and ka also meaning what. Shtokavian is spoken in Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, much of Croatia, as well as the southern part of Austria's Burgenland. The primary subdivisions of Shtokavian are based on two principles. One is whether the subdialect is Old Shtokavian or Neo-Shtokavian, and different accents according to the way the Old Slavic phoneme jet has changed. Modern dialectology generally recognizes 7 Shtokavian subdialects. Early history of Shtokavian. Earliest texts of Shtokavian dialect. Proto-Shtokavian, or Church Slavic with ingredients of nascent Shtokavian, were recorded in legal documents like the Charter of Ban Hilin, regulating the commerce between Bosnia and Dubrovnik in Croatia, dated 1189, and in liturgical texts like Georgskovics and Mihanovics fragments, ca. 1150, in southern Bosnia or Herzegovina. Experts' opinions are divided with regard to the extent these texts, especially the Kulin Ban parchment, contain contemporary Shtokavian vernacular. Mainly Shtokavian, with ingredients of Church Slavic, are numerous legal and commercial documents from pre-Ottoman Bosnia, Serbia, Zeta, and southern Dalmatia, especially Dubrovnik. The first comprehensive vernacular Shtokavian text is the Vatican Croatian prayer book, written in Dubrovnik a decade or two before 1400. In the next 2 centuries, Shtokavian vernacular texts had been written mainly in Dubrovnik. Relationship towards neighboring dialects. Shtokavian is characterized by a number of characteristic historical sound changes, accentual changes, changes in inflection, morphology, and syntax. Some of these isoglosses are not exclusive and have also been shared by neighboring dialects, and some of them have mostly but not completely spread over the whole Shtokavian area. The differences between Shtokavian and the unrelated neighboring Bulgarian Macedonian dialects are clear-cut, whereas the differences with the related Serbo-Croatian dialects of Chakavian and Kajkavian are much more fluid, and the mutual influence of various subdialects plays a more prominent role. The main bundle of isoglosses separates Slovenian and Kajkavian on the one hand from Shtokavian and Chakavian on the other. These are long falling accent of newer origin neo-circumflex, development of the consonant group RJ as opposed to consonant slash or slash from former soft slash or slash before a vowel, e.g. morgem, zorge, reflexes of slash o slash or slash o slash of the old common Slavic nasal vowel slash o slash and not slash u 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 slash. Inflectional morpheme o as opposed to ojo in the instrumental singular of a declension. Other characteristics distinguishing Kajkavian from Shtokavian, beside the demonstrative slash interrogatory pronoun kaj as opposed to sto/sta used in Shtokavian, are a reflex of old semivowels of /e/e.g. den common Slavic * den, pes common Slavic * piece, closed /e/ appearing also as a jet reflex. Retention of word final leg docile, as opposed to Shtokavian docile. Word initial u becoming veg, vuho, vusel, vozikzel, 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 vozikukuk. Dephonymicization of affricates /c/ and /c/ to some form of middle value Genitive plural of masculine nouns has the morpheme of /f. Syncretized dative, locative and instrumental plural has the ending omimum, ding omimum. The ending me in the first person plural present, e.g. vdine. Affix s in the formation of adjectival comparatives, e.g. debelsi, slabesies, slabesiesi, 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 slabesies, slabesiesi, 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 slabesiesi. Supine. Future tense formation in the form of balm/bum dosal. Doslo characteristics distinguishing Chakavian from Štokavian, beside the demonstrative/interrogatory pronoun ka, are preservation of polytonic three-accent system, vocalization of weak jurors in word initial syllables, e.g. melin/melon, common Slavic *emlin, cf. Štokavian emlin. Vowel /a/ as opposed to /e/ after palatal consonants /j/ //c/ /z/e/g/ck, jazic/zejic, St. Jezic, ck Pacati, St. Posti, ck Zaja, St. Zeljish, The appearance of extremely palatal /t/ or /c/ earlier /t/ and /j/ earlier /d/ either in free positions or in groups St. Zd. Depalatalization of and /l//c/ instead of /dz/c fck zep, St. dzep dzep. /c//s/ before consonants c fck masca, St. Mecca. Word initial consonant groups cr, cry, c fck. Krivo/krivo, Saint. Krijvo, ck. crn, Saint. crn. Conditional mood with bis in the second person singular. Non-syncretized dative, locative and instrumental plural. General characteristics. General characteristics of Štokavian are the following. Sto or sta as the demonstrative/interrogative pronoun. Differentiation between two short in addition to two or three long accents, rising and falling, though not in all Štokavian speakers. Preservation of unaccented length, but not consistently across all speeches. /u/ as the reflex of common Slavic back nasal vowel /o/ as well as the syllabic /l/ with the exception of central Bosnia, where a diphthongal /u/ is also recorded as a reflex. Initial group of v plus weak semivowel yields u, e.g. unuk, common Slavic *, vinuk. Schwa resulting from the merger yields /a/, with the exception of the Zeta-Raška dialect. Metathesis of vc to sv. CR with the exception of Slavonian Malays and Vlachia dialect. Word final L changes to /o/ or /a/. The exception is verbal adjective in the Slavonian southwest. D/dz/d with numerous exceptions. CRTR in the word Tresnia cherry, some exceptions in Slavonia, Hungary, and Romania, Korea and Romania, /c/ and /d/ from JT, JDEJ, POSI, PODEM, exceptions in Slavonian and Eastern Bosnian dialect. So-called new iotation of dentals and labials, with many exceptions, especially in Slavonia and Bosnia. General loss of phoneme /x/, with many exceptions. Ending an ingenitive plural of masculine and feminine nouns, with many exceptions. Ending u in locative singular of masculine and neuter nouns, e.g. u gradu, u engestu. Infix off /iv in the plural of most monosyllabic masculine nouns, with many exceptions, e.g. in the area between Neretva and Dubrovnik. Syncretism of dative, locative, and instrumental plural of nouns, with many exceptions. Preservation of ending oga in genitive and accusative singular of masculine and neuter gender if pronominal adjectival declension e.g. Drugoga, with exceptions on the area of Dubrovnik and Livno. Special form with the ending of for the neuter gender in nominative plural of pronominal adjectival declension e.g. ova emgesta and no ova emgested. Preservation of aorist, which is however missing in some areas e.g. around Dubrovnik. Special constructs reflecting Old Jewel for numerals 2-4 dva, tri-setiri stolul. Many so-called Turkisms, tersismi or Orientalisms, i.e. words borrowed from Ottoman Turkish as can be seen from the list, many of this isoglosses are missing from particular Shtokavian idioms, just as many of them are shared with neighboring non-Shtokavian dialects. Accentuation. The Shtokavian dialect is divided into Old Shtokavian and Neo-Shtokavian subdialects. The primary distinction is the accentuation system. Although there are variations, old dialects preserve the older accent system, which consists of two types of falling dynamic accents, one long and one short, and unstressed syllables, which can be long and short. Both long and short unstressed syllables could precede the stressed syllables. Stress placement is free and mobile in paradigms. In the process known as Neo-Shtokavian metatony or retraction, length of the old syllables was preserved, but their quality changed. Stress intensity on the inner syllables moved to the preceding syllable, but they kept the high pitch. That process produced the rising accents characteristic for Neo-Shtokavian and yielded the modern four-tone system. Stress on the initial syllables remained the same in quality and pitch. Most speakers of Shtokavian, native or taught, from Serbia and Croatia do not distinguish between short rising and short falling tones. They also pronounce most unstressed long vowels as short, with some exceptions, such as genitive plural endings. The following notation is used for Shtokavian accents. The following table shows the examples of Neo-Shtokavian retraction. As a result of this process, the following set of rules emerged, which are still in effect in all standard variants of Serbo-Croatian. Falling accents may only occur word initially, otherwise it would have been retracted. Rising accents may occur anywhere except word finally. Thus, monosyllabic words may only have falling accent. Unstressed length may only appear after a stressed syllable. In practice, influx of foreign words and formation of compound words have loosened these rules, especially in spoken idioms e.g. paradadz, assistant Polja-Privreda, but they are maintained in standard language and dictionaries. Classification. Old Shtokavian dialects. Timok-Prizren Torlakian. The most conservative dialects stretch southeast from the Timok Valley near the Bulgarian border to Prizren. There is disagreement among linguists whether these dialects belong to the Shtokavian area, because there are many other morphological characteristics apart from rendering of sto also. Some dialects use kakvo or kavio, typical for Bulgarian, which would place them into a transitional group between Shtokavian and Eastern South Slavic languages Bulgarian and Macedonian. The Timok-Prizren group falls to the Balkan language area. Declension has all but disappeared. The infinitive has yielded to subjunctives da constructions, and adjectives are compared exclusively with prefixes. The accent in the dialect group is a stress accent, and it falls on any syllable in the word. The old semi-vowel has been retained throughout. The vocalic L has been retained VLK equals VUK, and some dialects don't distinguish C/C and D/DZ by preferring the latter, postalveolar variants. Some subdialects preserve L at the end of words where otherwise it has developed into a short O docile, Zinal, etc. Cf. Kajkavian and Bulgarian. In others, this L has become the syllable Ya. Torlakian is spoken in Metohija, around Prizren, Lienjelaine, and Strpca especially, in southern Serbia around Bujanovec, Vioranj, Leskovac, Nis, Aleksinac, in the part of Toplica Valley around Prokop. It has been recorded several exclaves with Torlakian speeches inside Kosovo-Resava dialect area. One is the most prominent and preserved, like village Dulj near Svilajnac, where the majority of settlers came from Torlakian-speaking village Veliki Izver near Zajkar. Few centuries ago, before settlers from Kosovo and Metohija brought Kosovo-Resava speeches to eastern Serbia to Bor and Nigotin area. Torlakian speech had been overwhelmingly represented in this region. Slavonian, also called the archaic Štokavian, it is spoken by Croats who live in some parts of Slavonia, Bačka, Baranja, Sirmia, in Croatia and Vojvodina, as well as in northern Bosnia. It is divided into two subdialects, Southern Pasavian/Pasavski and Northern Podravian/Podravski. The Slavonian dialect has mixed Štokavian and Akavian pronunciations. Akavian accent is predominant in the Posavina, Baranja, Bačka, and in the Slavonian subdialect enclave of Derventa, whereas Akavian accent is predominant in Podravina. There are enclaves of one accent in the territory of the other, as well as mixed Akavian and Chakavian areas. In some villages in Hungary, the original yat is preserved. Local variants can widely differ in the degree of Neo-Shtokavian influences. In two villages in Posavina, Cis and Magica male, the L, as in the verb nosel, has been retained in place of the modern nocio. In some villages in the Podravina, CR is preserved instead of the usual CR, for example in CRN instead of CRN. Both forms are usual in Kajkavian, but very rare in Shtokavian. East Bosnian, also called Jakavian Štokavian, it is a base for the Bosnian language. It has Jakavian pronunciations in the vast majority of local forms, and it is spoken by the majority of Bosniaks living in that area, which includes the bigger Bosnian cities Sarajevo, Tuzla, and Zenica, and by most of Croats and Serbs that live in that area Vers, Uzura, etc. Together with basic Jakavian pronunciation, mixed pronunciations exist in Tesanjan Maglaj Dite Jetite, Akavian Jakavian, and around Zeps and Jablanica Jitite to Jakavian, Akavian. In the central area of the subdialect, the diphthong u exists in some words instead of the archaic l and more common u like vuok or stuop, instead of the standard modern vuk and stup. Zeta-Raška, also known as Decavian Ijkavian, it is spoken in eastern Montenegro, in Podgorica and Cetinje around the city of Novi Pazar in eastern Raška, in Serbia, and by descendants of Montenegrin settlers in the single village of Piraj in Istria. The majority of its speakers are Serbs and Montenegrins and Muslims from Serbia and Montenegro, together with the dominant Jakavian pronunciation. Mixed pronunciations like Jit Diteta Jakavian, Akavian around Novi Pazar and Bijilo Polj, Dit Diteta Akavian Jakavian around Podgorica, and Diteta Akavian Jakavian in the village of Amarkoj in southern Montenegro. Amarkoj are also characterized by retention of CR instead of CR as in the previously mentioned villages in Podravina. Some vernaculars have a very open /e/ or /e/ as their reflex of slash, very rare in other Shtokavian vernaculars seen and deen instead of san and dan. Other phonetic features include sounds like c and isti instead of isgesti, c as in secura instead of eschecura. However, these sounds are known also to many in East Herzegovina like those in Konovo, and are not Zeta-Raška specific. There is a loss of the /v/ sound apparent seen in Kajk or Daula. The loss of distinction between /y/ and /l/ in some vernaculars is based on a substratum. The word pljesma is a hypercorrection instead of pjesma because many vernaculars have changed lj to j. All verbs in infinitive finish with t, example, pjevetsing. This feature is also present in most vernaculars of East Herzegovinian, and actually almost all Serbian and Croatian vernaculars. The group +o gave a /a/ka instead of cow, recaf or recal, like in other seaside vernaculars. Elsewhere, more common is ao. Kosovo-Resava, also called Old-Shtokavian, is spoken by Serbs mostly in western and northeastern Kosovo, Kosovo Valley, with Kosovska Mitrovica, and also around Pek, in Ibar Valley with Kraljevo, around Kruševac, Trstenik, and in Zupa, in the part of Toplica Valley Kuršumlija, in the Morava Valley, Jagodina, Koprivnica, Parasin. This dialect can be also found in parts of Banatska Klisura and Dunaria in Romania, in places where Romanian Serbs live left bank of the Danube. Substitution of jat is predominantly Akavian accent even on the end of dative zine instead of zeni in pronouns te instead of t in comparatives dobraj instead of dobriji in the negative of biti nesim instead of nisim. In Smederevo Vrsak dialects, Akavian forms can be found dc instead of gdec. Smederevo Vrsak dialect spoken in northeastern Sumadija, Lower Great Morava Valley, and Banat is sometimes classified as a subdialect of the Kosovo-Resava dialect, but is also considered to be a separate dialect, as it represents mixed speech of Sumadija-Vojvodina and Kos. Neo-Shtokavian dialects. Bosnian Dalmatian, also called Western Shtokavian or Younger Shtokavian. The majority of its speakers are Croats who live in Lika, Kvarner, Dalmatia, Herzegovina, and Bunjevci, and Croats of North Bačka around Subotica. The minority speakers of it include Bosniaks in western Bosnia, mostly around the city of Bihać, and also in central Bosnia where Croats and Bosniaks Travnik, Jadj, Bugojnovides used to speak this dialect. Exclusively Akavian accent, Bosnian and Herzegovinian forms uso in verb participle, whereas those in Dalmatia and Lika use ija or ia like in vidija/vidi. Local form of Bačka was proposed as the base for the Bunjevac dialect of Bunjevci in Vojvodina. Dubrovnik, also known as Western Shtokavian, in earlier centuries, this subdialect was the independent subdialect of Western Shtokavian dialect. It is spoken by Croats who live in some parts of Dubrovnik area. The Dubrovnik dialect has mixed Shtokavian and Akavian pronunciations or mixed Shtokavian and Chakavian vocabulary. Some vocabulary from Dalmatian, Older Venetian, and modern Italian are also present. It is a base for the Croatian language. The dialect today is considered to be a part of East Herzegovina subdialect because it is similar to it. It retained certain unique features that distinguish it from the original East Herzegovina subdialect. Sumadija-Vojvodina, also known as Younger Shtokavian, is one of the bases for the standard Serbian language. It is spoken by Serbs across most of Vojvodina excluding easternmost parts around Vršac, northern part of western Serbia, around Kragujevac, and Valjevo in Sumadija, in Makva around Sabic and Bigatic, in Belgrade, and in predominantly ethnically Serbian villages in eastern Croatia around the town of Vukovar. It is predominantly Akavian forms are of morphophonological origin. In some parts of Vojvodina the old declension is preserved. Most Vojvodina dialects and some dialects in Sumadija have an open e and o. However, the vernaculars of Western Serbia, and in past to them connected vernaculars of Old Belgrade and southwestern Banat Borka, Pančevo, Bavanist are as close to the standard as a vernacular can be. The dialect presents a base for the Akavian variant of the Serbian standard language. Eastern Herzegovinian, also called Eastern Herzegovinian or Neo-Shtokavian. It encompasses by far the largest area and the number of speakers of all Shtokavian dialects. It is the dialectal basis of the standard literary Croatian, Bosnian Serbian, and Montenegrin languages. Microgroups: Western Montenegro spoken South Shtokavian variant. Croats Western Shtokavian variant microgroups in region Slavonia, Banovina, Kordun, Sumberak, Neretva, East Herzegovina, Ravno, Stalac, Buna, Neum, around of region Dubrovnik. City: Osijek, Bjelovar, Daruvar, Sisak, Pakrac, Petrinja, Dubrovnik, Metkovic. Serbs East Shtokavian variant groups: East Bosnia, East Herzegovina, Trebinj, Nevesinj, Bileka, Bosnian Krajina, Western Serbia and Podrinj uses Kakak, Ivanjica, Loznica, Probaj, Prijepolj, and minority Croatian Serbs. City, Trebinj, Bijeljina, Banja Luka, Nevesinj, Pale. Its southeastern form is characterized by the total lack of /x/ sound that is sometimes not only left out or replaced by more common /j/ or /b/, but is replaced as well by less common /k/, Bijaku imperfect of verb biti. Local forms in the Zumbarak enclave and around Dubrovnik or Slunj have some special Croatian features, influenced from Čakavian and the Western subdialect, whereas forms in Bjelovar or Pakrac are influenced from Kajkavian. Yet reflexes. The Proto-Slavic vowel jat e in Cyrillic or e in Latin has changed over time, coming to be pronounced differently in different areas. These different reflexes define three pronunciations as Gavori of Shtokavian. In Akavian pronunciation štokavski e kavski, jet has conflated into the vowel e, 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 vowel. In Akavian pronunciation štokavski, kavski, it has conflated into the vowel I, the vowel I. In Ijkavian or Jakavian pronunciation ijkavski, or Jekavski, it has come to be pronounced ij or g depending on whether the vowel was long or short. In standard Croatian, pronunciation is always Jakavian. When yat is short, then it is g written as g, and when yat is long, then it is g written as ij. Historically, the yat reflexes had been inscribed in Church Slavic texts before the significant development of Shtokavian dialect, reflecting the beginnings of the formative period of the vernacular. In early documents, it is predominantly Church Slavic of the Serbian or Croatian recension variant. The first undoubted Akavian reflex biset was found in a document from Serbia dated 1289. The first Akavian reflex Svidoci witnesses in Bosnia in 1331, and first Ijkavian reflex Zelijmo we wish, a hyper-Ijkavism in Croatia in 1399. Partial attestation can be found in earlier texts. For instance, Akavian pronunciation is found in a few Bosnian documents from the latter half of the 13th century, but philologists generally accept the aforementioned dates. In the second half of the 20th century, many vernaculars with unsubstituted yet are found. The intrusion of the vernacular into Church Slavic grew in time to be finally replaced by the vernacular idiom. This process took place for Croats, Serbs, and Bosniaks independently and without mutual interference until the mid-19th century. Historical linguistics, textual analysis, and dialectology have dispelled myths about allegedly unspoilt vernacular speech of rural areas. For instance, it is established that Bosniaks have retained phoneme h in numerous words unlike Serbs and Croats, due to elementary religious education based on the Koran, where this phoneme is the character. The Akavian pronunciation, sometimes called Eastern, is spoken primarily in Serbia and in small parts of Croatia. The Akavian pronunciation, sometimes called Western, is spoken in Western and Central Bosnia, Western Herzegovina, some of Slavonia, and the major part of Dalmatia in Croatia. The Ijkavian pronunciation, sometimes called Southern, is spoken in Central Croatia, most of Slavonia, Southern Dalmatia, most of Bosnia, Herzegovina, Montenegro, as well as some parts of Western Serbia. The following are some generic examples. Long Ij is pronounced as a single syllable, g, by many Ijkavian speakers. In Zeta dialect and most of East Herzegovina dialect, however, it is pronounced as two syllables, vaj. The distinction can be clearly heard in first verses of national anthems of Croatia and Montenegro. They are sung as Lij pa naso dumo Roman 6 no and Aj svig tla maj skazo ro respectively. The Akavian pronunciation is the only one that is not part of any standard variety of Serbo-Croatian. This has led to a reduction in its use and an increase in the use of Ijkavian in traditionally Akavian areas since the standardization. For example, most people in Split, Croatia today use both Kajkavian and Šttokavian words in everyday speech without a predictable pattern. The IATF language tags have assigned the variants Sr-Kaʋskiः and Sr-Štokavski to Kajkavian and Šttokavian pronunciations, respectively. Ethnic affiliation of native speakers of Štokavian dialect. During the first half of the 19th century, protagonists of nascent Slavic philology were, as far as South Slavic dialects were concerned, embroiled in frequently bitter polemic about ethnic affiliation of native speakers of various dialects. This, from contemporary point of view, rather bizarre obsession was motivated primarily by political and national interests that prompted philologists turned ideologues to express their views on the subject. The most prominent contenders in the squabble, with conflicting agenda, were the Czech philologist Josef Dubrovsky, the Slovak Pavel Safarik, the Slovenes Jurnej Kopitar and Franz Miklasic, the Serb Vuk Karadžić, the Croat of Slovak origin Bogoslav Sulek, and the Croatians Vatroslav Jejic and Ante Starčević. The dispute was primarily concerned with who can philologically be labeled as Slovene, Croat, and Serb with the aim of expanding one's national territory and influence. Born in the climate of Romanticism and national awakening, these polemical battles led to increased tensions between the aforementioned nations, especially because the Štokavian dialect cannot be split along ethnic lines in an unequivocal manner. However, contemporary native speakers, after process of national crystallization and identification had been completed, can be roughly identified as predominant speakers of various Štokavian subdialects. Because standard languages propagated through media have strongly influenced and altered the situation in the 19th century, the following attribution must be treated with necessary caution. The distribution of old Štokavian speakers along ethnic lines in present times is as follows. Timok-Prizren Kajkavian accent dialect, Serbian, Kosovo-Resava Kajkavian accent dialect, Serbian, and Zeta-Raška dialect Kajkavian accent, Montenegrin, Bosniak, and Serbian. Slavonian dialect fluctuating yet, mainly Kajkavian accent, also Šttokavian and Kajkavian, vastly Croatian. Eastern Bosnian dialect Kajkavian accent, Bosniak and Croatian generally. The Neo-Shtokavian dialect is divided as follows with regard to the ethnicity of its native speakers. Sumadija-Vojvodina dialect Kajkavian accent, Serbian, Dalmatian Bosnian dialect Kajkavian accent, Croatian, and Bosniak. Eastern Herzegovinian Kajkavian accent, Serbian, Montenegrin, Croatian, and Bosniak. Standard language. The standard Bosnian, Croatian, Montenegrin, and Serbian variants of the pluricentric Serbo-Croatian standard language are all based on the Neo-Shtokavian dialect. However, it must be stressed that standard variants, irrespectively of their mutual differences, have been stylized in such manners that parts of the Neo-Shtokavian dialect have been retained, for instance, declension, but other features were purposely omitted or altered. For instance, the phoneme H was reinstated in the standard language. Croatian has had a long tradition of Štokavian vernacular literacy and literature. It took almost 4.5 centuries for Štokavian to prevail as the dialectal basis for the Croatian standard. In other periods, Čakavian and Kajkavian dialects, as well as hybrid Čakavian-Kajkavian Štokavian interdialects contended for the Croatian national coin, but eventually lost, mainly due to historical and political reasons. By the 1650s, it was fairly obvious that Štokavian would become the dialectal basis for the Croatian standard, but this process was finally completed in the 1850s, when Neo-Shtokavian Šttokavian, based mainly on Ragusan Dubrovnik, Dalmatian, Bosnian, and Slavonian literary heritage became the national standard language. Serbian was much faster in standardization. Although vernacular literature was present in the 18th century, it was Vuk Karadžić who, between 1818 and 1851, made a radical break with the past and established Serbian Neo-Shtokavian folklore idiom as the basis of standard Serbian. Until then, educated Serbs had been using Serbian Slavic, Russian Slavic, and hybrid Russian Serbian language. Although he wrote in Serbian Kajkavian accent, the majority of Serbs have adopted Kajkavian accent, which is dominant in Serbia. Serbs in Croatia and Bosnia, as well as Montenegrins, use the Kajkavian accent. Bosnian is only currently beginning to take shape. The Bosniak idiom can be seen as a transition between Serbian Kajkavian and Croatian varieties, with some specific traits. After the collapse of Yugoslavia, Bosniaks affirmed their wish to stylize their own standard language based on the Neo-Shtokavian dialect, but reflecting their characteristics from phonetics to semantics. Also, the contemporary situation is unstable with regard to the accentuation because phoneticians have observed that the four accents speech has, in all likelihood, shown to be increasingly unstable, which resulted in proposals that a three accents norm be prescribed. This is particularly true for Croatian, where, contrary to all expectations, the influence of Čakavian and Kajkavian dialects on the standard language has been waxing, not waning, in the past 50-70 years. The Croatian, Serbian, and Bosnian standard variants, although all based on the East Herzegovinian subdialect of Neo-Shtokavian and mutually intelligible, do differ slightly, as is the case with other pluricentric languages English, Spanish, German, and Portuguese, among others, but not to a degree which would justify considering them as different languages. Their structures are grammatically and phonologically almost identical, but have differences in vocabulary and semantics. Lexical differences between the ethnic variants are extremely limited, even when compared with those between closely related Slavic languages such as Standard Czech and Slovak, Bulgarian and Macedonian, and grammatical differences are even less pronounced. See differences between Standard Bosnian, Croatian, and Serbian. In 2017, numerous prominent writers, scientists, journalists, activists, and other public figures from Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Serbia signed the Declaration on the Common Language, which states that in Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Montenegro a common polycentric standard language is used,